What's up, everyone? Welcome back to. She forgot the name. She forgot the
What
name.
is it? It's only been once, okay? Lahore to Delhi.
There you go. Well, welcome back. I know that we'll start being more consistent right now. Of course, bear with us with how we're kind of maneuvering. If only you had seen the chaos that was happening
We're trying
before.
new things. We're trying to get Tia more organized, No, I'm kidding.
I am chaos, so I completely understand that.
I just have to come and look pretty. I'm
She
kidding.
she doesn't have much to do.
I'm just like the star. That's okay.
And I love that. My best friend should be the star.
I'm kidding.
So today we watched this movie recently, and I feel like so many people have been talking about it.
I've seen so much stuff about it online, and like I watched this kind of before like the hype.
Yeah.
So I feel like I had very organic emotions toward this movie.
When did you watch it? Because it came out in 2023, right?
No, I think the Tamil version came out.
Oh, there's Tamil
first. Yeah, so
version.
it's called The Great Indian Kitchen or something, and this
Tamil
is the
movies are dope.
Hindi version
Yeah.
of it. And apparently that one's really good too. So I haven't seen that. I think did it come out now? Because I know it came out on Z5, and that like a lot of people don't
It's
have
on
Z5.
It's on Geo. It's on Hotstar.
It's not on
Yeah,
Z5.
No, well, I got it on Hotstar.
Oh, okay. All right.
But anyways, it's the movie. We forgot to
We found a
even
way to
mention
watch
the
it.
movie.
Yeah.
But it's the movie Mrs. Maha was right. It did come out on Z5.
Z5?
Z5. I keep on saying GeoStar, all these names, because in India it's on Hotstar.
Yeah, and like a lot of people couldn't see it because it's not on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on the usual services.
Yeah.
But actually, Z5
I
has a lot of cool
purchased
stuff.
Z5 so I could watch Mrs. And then I went on it and I was like, damn, you have a lot of good
I'm
stuff.
not gonna say how I watched it because it's not legal.
You know
but
what?
I
As an
watched
actress,
it.
I'm actually offended right now.
We don't need to talk about it. Z5, yeah, I watched it on Z5.
But yeah, like, what did you see on social media about it?
So like immediately after, I love Sanya Malhotra. Like I think she's such because I never knew, like she doesn't look like she would be such an epic dancer. But
Yeah.
then when I learned that she's also like an epic dancer, I was like, no way, she's amazing. So this movie was like perfect for her. What were we talking about?
The movie Mrs. I frazzled her so much
I started thinking
before.
about Sanya. I started thinking about the actress. Okay. When
Dude,
I
I
be on
followed her.
social
I
media-
followed her on Instagram way before, and so she would post all these dances. So I
She's
knew she was such a good
phenomenal.
dancer.
Yeah. I knew before this movie for sure.
Yeah,
But she was a really good choice.
and she's a
for the
phenomenal
movie.
actress too.
She is.
Yeah.
I love all her movies. And then yeah, so what I saw on social media,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people commenting, and it's really interesting that I think a lot of women in India, Pakistan would relate because obviously, women there they're not encouraged to have careers. I would
Mhm.
say in, certain parts of those places,
Yep.
not everywhere.
Certain
of
part of those
course.
countries,
It's
yeah.
so different now. And
Yeah.
of course, it's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
But there's still that predominant culture, especially in villages and,
Yeah.
other parts of those places
Yeah.
that it's not encouraged. And a lot of people don't educate their daughters, right?
Yeah.
That's also a very
Yeah.
common theme that we see in movies.
Yeah.
A lot of it that I saw on social media was women obviously really relate and resonate with these kind of movies, and like they really feel it, I think, internally to the core because
Yeah.
they've seen their mom, their grandmother, so even
Or
if you're not
someone.
going through it,
Someone has gone through it, and
100%.
I feel like it's us as millennials. Yeah, we just gave away our age, anyways. We look like millennials. No, I'm Gen Z. I'm joking. But us as millennials, I feel like we're in the in between where we saw our mothers or maybe even our grandmothers telling their stories. If it was not your mother going through it, I feel like Gen Z
Mhm.
and the newer generation is not gonna experience
Yeah.
that.
And obviously it depends on your location
Yeah.
too. A lot of people who grew up in Canada, they had working moms, and that was not a thing. They got to see their mom balance kind of
Yeah.
both worlds.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I visited back home, my aunts, anybody I
Yeah.
met, a lot of it was normal for the woman to not be, even if she was very well educated,
Yeah.
to kind of be serving the role of serving her household,
Yeah.
as that becomes
Yeah.
her whole entire.
And it's crazy because
duty.
there's nothing wrong with it, right? Like my mom's a housewife. You yourself right now, you're working from home, you're doing your dances from home. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much work it is to be a housewife, and we have witnessed that. And kudos to them, because even me trying to organize the house, even for 5 minutes, I go into full chaos mode, as
Yeah.
you have noticed. But the amount of work they have to put in, the things that they have to do. But I like knowing that, for example, for I can only speak for like my mom. She had a business degree, and it was her choice. She wanted to be a housewife. She wanted to take care of her future child. And so my dad was cool with that. I mean, if you've seen the documentary, my dad's documentary, he was like, "Yeah, okay, that's perfect, that's great." And she decided to take that step back, but it was her choice. She wasn't forced into it. She didn't lose her dreams because someone else forced her to lose her
True.
dreams.
I completely love that because I completely love that. Just I love all of
I
it.
like it.
I meant to say I completely agree with
Yeah.
it. And I love it because like to me, whenever I think of feminism, like it's so kind of all over the place now, like with its meaning, and it doesn't really have this definitive meaning.
Yep.
But for me, like it's always just meant that women should have choice. Like I
Yes.
think it just starts and ends with that.
Yep.
Like yes, a woman might choose to work. She might choose to stay home. She might want to, I don't know, send her kids to daycare. She might not want to send her kids to daycare. Like it's just a free for all world, and it should be like that. Like how come men get to have choices and women don't get to have choices,
I
right?
agree.
Especially about their own bodies. That I think
Yeah.
is the most ridiculous
Yeah.
thing. Like what clothes we wear,
Yeah.
how we dress, where we go.
Yeah.
It's always a safety concern for us, and never, how are we raising the men in
Yeah.
these countries or whatnot. I mean, this is a really, really big debate, and we could
Yeah.
go into so
I
many
mean,
topics.
I will just say one thing when it comes to this is I think the way you raise your son has to be so different. It's really sad that we have to teach our daughters maybe defense techniques or this
Hmm.
and that and everything. But who are they really defending themselves from,
True.
So it's about raising your sons with that respect, with that love, with that appreciation, that this is my wife, this is not a maid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I mean, it's
From the
the
movie.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really,
Yeah.
it all comes down to
Yeah.
respect. I think somebody should respect your time, should respect your feelings, should respect the hard work that you do. So, specifically about, obviously, about the
Yeah.
movie, like, it's so hard. It was such a hard watch for me because it's like, being in Canada and obviously seeing it from a different perspective, where now men and women, they kind of both work, they kind of share different
Yeah.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's really hard to kind of feels like you're going back in time and watching this happen, but you're realizing that this is a reality for a
It
lot
does
of
happen
women
still.
in a lot of other parts of the
Yeah.
world and in Canada
Yeah.
too. Like it's not present here either.
Yeah.
There is a lot of families like that.
Mhm.
And it's just crazy that these are kind of the things that we're passing down. And I think the saddest thing about it is it's a cycle that I don't see breaking anytime soon. I think
Mm.
we've kind of like these movies come out, but I don't think that they're gonna change too much
Oh,
in
that's
people.
interesting.
Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's not
Yeah.
not yet at
Yeah.
least. Those people are gonna continue to live like it's kind of
Yeah.
how the movie ends too. Like the
Yeah.
cycle kind of
They continued
continues
it.
unless the woman
Yeah.
who makes a choice,
Yeah.
she breaks that cycle and she
Yeah.
does something for herself that's different.
Yeah.
But for the man, the cycle's continuing.
Continue.
And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I didn't
He
learn
didn't.
shit from
Yeah, he
this.
didn't
Like,
care. He just wanted someone new. I mean, if you haven't seen the movie, please go check it out. But
mhm.
spoiler alert, again, it's been out for a while. She gets married into this family. She's a dancer. She's a beautiful dancer. And you kind of see herself losing that spark in her marriage. The husband starts treating her exactly the way that, his mom was treated. So everything was just passed down. And eventually she breaks that cycle and she goes, I don't want this anymore. And it was really nice at the end of the movie. She actually bought herself flowers, and someone asked, "Oh, who'd you get those flowers from?" She's like, "Me. I gifted it to myself." And she carries on with her dance career, and it's so beautiful. And then if you look back to the guy's family, he brings in a new wife who
To just
literally
do the
almost looks
same.
as similar and
Yeah.
is doing the same thing.
But just complaining less about doing it, basically.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
basically succumbed or settled actually to live that life.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was very interesting. It was infuriating because
It was.
it was like I don't know, those moments of her in the kitchen, always cooking and making things for him, but then not being able to eat with the
Yeah,
father-in-law
true,
and
true,
the
true. And I think the endless work that was going into that, but no result, like her efforts weren't even appreciated. Though
yeah, they
she's
weren't.
like, I'm gonna keep cooking, but they're not gonna like what I make.
Yeah.
They're always gonna be like, well, my mom makes it
Yeah.
better, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that's so sad because if you are gonna do that, like again, respect and
Yeah.
appreciation is really all
And
that would have helped her kind of
yeah.
stay in that
Yeah,
marriage.
and her parents like supported her dance. They
Mm-hmm.
like it in the movie. The husband goes, "Oh, I thought ki ye shauq tha." Like it was just like a hobby, and she was like, "No, like this is what she wants to do." And it was really sad. She had her ghungroos. She was going to
Yeah.
her dance, and then I think it was the father-in-law that stopped her.
Mm-hmm.
And
And like it's interesting that like obviously in this movie you would think, I mean, a lot of people have opinions and they might be like, oh well, dancing's not a real career, so you know why? Like why does she have to leave the house to
arts, anything
continue
in the
that?
arts is
She
not
was
a real
gonna be a
career.
dance teacher,
Yeah,
so I think that that is actually a very beautiful thing that she was
yeah,
about to do. Like, but I think the sad part is that it's not just limited to dancing. When you're in that kind of toxic environment, I'd like to call it,
yeah,
um, even if you're a doctor, they're not gonna let you work. Like I know a lot of
yeah.
people in different countries where the woman has like a medical degree, a
Oh
law
damn.
degree, and like there's still that culture is not there. That
Yeah,
like yeah, you should study,
yeah.
but you don't. A lot of them don't get to
They don't get to utilize it.
utilize
Yeah,
that
yeah,
degree of theirs.
yeah,
And of course, like we're talking about families that are kind of close-minded to this. So
yeah,
obviously there's, you know, all kinds of families, but
yeah.
um yeah, I mean, it was really hard to watch. I think for me, the most difficult thing in it was like, yeah, they definitely don't take art seriously. Like
Yeah,
for
they
me
don't.
too, like I grew up in a pretty open-minded
Yeah, you did.
household and I was very lucky to have gone through that. And when I told my parents that I want to go into media, they were super supportive. They not once said like, "Hey, you should
Yeah,
become a doctor instead. You should become a lawyer."
yeah,
They were like, "Oh, okay. Like as long as you know what university you want to do, what like program you've looked into it, like we kind of trust you,
yeah.
right? We kind of trust you. We trust you." But a lot of people, especially in like the South Asian community, were not able to go up and say,
Yeah,
"I'm going to be in media or journalism or do
yeah.
dance or
I want to
even a
write
graphic
poetry. I want to be
designer."
a painter.
Yeah.
I want to be an actor. Like, even when I had told my parents that acting is what I want to do, I told them at the age of like four, no, actually, sorry, six. Yeah, six. I told them that I want to be an actress. And my dad just kind of was like, oh, like, okay, we'll see. You know, like it's a little kid saying what they want to do. Cause one day I'm like, I want to be a heart surgeon. Another day I'm going to be a teacher. I want to be an air hostess. I want to be this. So it was one of those situations. Then at 16, my dad realized this is what I really want to do. And he's like, okay, go study. And he's like, I support you. And that support meant a lot because these are careers where it's not like you're gonna be making money right away.
Mhm.
Sometimes it is a hit and miss. Sometimes you have those moments where things take off and then all of a sudden you're back down here for a bit and then they take off again. Audition, dance, everything, opportunity, training, luck, everything falls into play. So having that support system at home is so important, especially as well as in your married life as well.
Yeah, and like watching you have
Yeah.
gone, you know, from the first day you told me this is what I want to get into till now, like I've seen you go through all these ups and downs. And
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have
Yeah.
people around you who are like, oh, it's okay, don't worry, keep trying, keep
Yeah.
at it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's so easy to just be like, okay,
Dude,
this is not for me, I'm just gonna
I
quit
posted my
immediately.
audition video up from Never Have I Ever and
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton. Thank you. And the video went viral, which I did not expect it to go viral. It's like a 5 million plus views in days. And like I was reading some of the comments, some of them, like a lot of them were positive. I have to say that. But then you have the negative. Like the positive ones will have like 5,000 likes on them, and the negative comments would have like 2,000 or
Oh
whatever.
god.
And people would be like, now I see, yeah, that totally makes sense why you didn't get it, why this, that. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, it's the fact that I got the opportunity to audition. And then there was a whole issue about me wearing a nose ring.
No.
Yeah. Someone
What?
commented about the nose ring that, oh, like if you're going in for these roles, you shouldn't. I'm like, I was going in for a South Asian role. Nose rings have been
I
there
didn't know that.
for a
Okay.
very long time. But a lot of
Wow.
people are just, they don't know this. They're not educated enough. But yeah, I had a lot of people just based off of looks or just quickly at the emotions of the eyes, which it was like maximum like 5-second clips. Just be like, yeah, you didn't deserve that or this, that. They're always bringing you down. So even with her dance, like you'll have comments of people bringing you down. It's so important to have that support when you're at home to be like, no, you got this. Like you're already dealing with so much online because you have to put yourself out there.
Mhm.
You're dealing with other people's judgments, maybe in your dance classes or paint classes, whatever you choose to do.
Mhm.
You need it at home. And when it's not there, it is so heartbreaking because I don't know if you've seen those TikTok videos of people talking about watch me lose my spark.
Aw,
And that
so
makes me so
sad.
sad. And a lot of the times it either has to do with two things. It's either relationship or career, and sometimes it's
Aw,
mixed with both.
that's really sad.
Yeah.
No, I mean any career has its ups and downs,
Yeah.
but obviously art, like it's a lot of it sometimes is like freelancing. It's not like a 9 to 5 job a
No,
lot
it
of the
isn't.
times. You'd be
It
lucky to
isn't.
get one like that. That's
Yeah.
amazing, but it's not. Usually it requires you to do a lot of your own work, and it's kind of unrewarding at times, I feel,
Yeah.
right? I'm not
Yeah.
even as consistent as you because
Yeah.
I simply quit. I'll just be like, this is too much. I'm gonna stop and I'll come back when I feel good about it, you know? Like
Yeah.
sometimes, like, and that's the thing with creativeness. Like, if you're not feeling good about it, you're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not one of those things like, okay, I'm typing on a
Yeah.
computer. I'll keep typing on the computer
Yeah.
because this is a very mundane
Yeah.
thing I'm doing. It's not mundane. Actually, your brain needs to spark and do the work. So if you're
Yeah.
not feeling it, you're not going to be able to post dance videos or do some art, you know? You get
Yeah.
into a creative block.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's one of those very like unrewarding careers
Yeah.
and but it's something that you need to consistently keep
Yeah.
doing and I mean, there's so many people who have achieved success
Yeah.
in it. And there's always like a job that's related. You know, like if you're into graphic designing, you can teach graphic designing one day. So
Yeah.
when you get to that level, like you can actually teach these arts, which is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can at the end of the day, you can pass it on to somebody
Yeah.
and teach your skill, which I think that
I
people
think
overlook
anybody
that.
in the arts, they learn about rejection in a whole different way. And that's something you can carry on to, your kids if you decide to have kids. It's like I went through this. There were moments where I wanted to give up. Like you're gonna help them when they feel like that too. And I think it's so important. And if we related right back to the movie, it was just heartbreaking to see that her friends would keep calling her and they're like, okay, we have the
Oh
show and
yeah.
you're not being involved. And she couldn't even explain why because she never opened up to any of her friends of what she was going through
Hmm.
in her relationship. And that really broke my heart.
And they weren't going through that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to be like, because obviously those friends would be like, oh, why are you in this relationship? Like, that's not
Yeah.
healthy for you,
Yeah.
right? So you don't, then you kind of shut down and you
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Um, even with me, so like I feel like I've always wanted to be a reporter. And like it's really weird. Like I feel like the amount of times that I've gotten hope that like some opportunities coming and the amount of times that it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go.
Mm.
Like it's
I'm
happened
just smiling
so
because I'm remembering things from you in the
yeah,
past.
it's been so many
Yeah. Now
it's
you
been
get
so
it.
many times that that happened
Yeah.
and then I always had to kind of convince myself
Yeah.
that okay, there was a reason that this might have
Yeah.
happened, maybe there was something else that was bigger out there. So I've seen so many doors close for me and
Yeah.
not enough open, but I've
Yeah.
had to make myself okay with that. And now we're sitting here
Now,
doing a
I was just about to
podcast,
say that.
right? So
Now,
you
one
know
of those
what,
doors are opening.
like if that all those doors don't work out for you, you make your own way, you make your
Yeah.
own path, and I
We're
think
very
that
lucky
is
that
very
we have
important.
social media, that we can create our own stuff sitting at home. Like the amount of people, okay, this I found very interesting. The amount of people that started social media, like I look at, do you know who Zarna Garg is?
Not
Okay, she's a
really, no.
comedian.
Okay.
She just signed. Mindy Kaling is producing one of her shows. She's an amazing comedian. I think it was Amazon Prime. I mean Prime Video that released her comedy show. I'm not sure. Could be the wrong network platform. But she was at home. It was the pandemic. She's like, "What do I do?"
Wow.
And she just started creating. And look where she is now.
That's
What you can
amazing.
do in your home, the magic of creation in your home is absolutely insane. I have come across so many TikTok videos as well of content creators. Like, what did you do before? Oh, like I was a housewife and I was working and I was loving what I was doing and I just started creating at home. And I'm like, damn, like that's amazing. You took your creativity, like it could be maybe with art in your house, decor in your home,
Cooking.
like yeah, cooking and like interior decoration, anything. And it's like, damn, they turned it into something magical that now other people can relate to and be like, hey, we want to be doing this.
Hmm.
And I thought that was phenomenal. So in with social media, God knows. One day Maha can be approached and be like, hey, we love the way that you speak, and we would love to carry this on somewhere else. And then she's
Not,
going to be like somewhere else and be like, hi, Maha.
not Tia doing PR for me right now.
Hey, guys, this is what friends are for, right? We have to market our friends. And, but yeah, like, honestly, like, kudos to you, because now I know we're going to try to be as consistent as we can, but it's just so nice that even in the previous video when we talked about it, I don't know if you read the comments on TikTok, did you?
I read some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I read some of
Yeah,
them.
the video did really, really well. And that was really nice to see. And other people were commenting and stuff about dance. And then all of a sudden, we have a friend of ours whose video went viral with her dance. And I'm like, see, like, you read the comments and the things people say about dance, like if you're married or if you're a girl or a divorcee, the comments are so pathetic coming from some individuals. And then when you zoom in onto their profiles and look at their faces, like you showed me the video of people commenting on Selena Gomez, how she looks, which was stupid. You zoom into these people and you're like, relax yourself. And it's mainly men who have to bring down women. So kudos to you for like posting your dance videos as well as putting yourself out there. And now with the podcast, I mean, you're always going to engage with people that agree with you or disagree with you. And everyone has commentaries about every single thing. But it's nice to be on a platform sitting at home where her and I can just banter and talk. And like, I absolutely love that.
It is. And like one thing I want to say is like the difference between generation, like from millennials to Gen Z.
Yeah.
Like, so I think in the past, like, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember like how much we used to care about like how we look? Like, I don't know how else to explain
Guys,
that.
now I'm gonna have to tell them this. I'm gonna have to tell them this.
I'm curious.
We cared so much how we look like that we would go. Okay, guys, this is probably TMI. I don't even know how to say this. Okay,
I'm so curious.
we would go to Square One without makeup on, which Square One is a local mall. And then we'd go to Square One without makeup on to Sephora. And we would get, at that time, like you could take the makeup and put it on, and they had all the like testers and then different things you can throw away using whatever to blot your face, do whatever, and then throw that away.
All of them.
We used all of them and redid our makeup as kids. And then
I walked out like full
glam.
Up. Yeah, like I feel like back in the day, like there was that whole thing, where like supermodels used to be in magazines and we used to look at them and be like, oh, we need to be skinny. Like there was a lot of like that body shaming, body image.
I feel like
feel
like it is, and I still think it is.
I still think it is, but I don't know for why. I feel like it was just really heightened at the time. Like we were not as accepting that everyone is like that concept.
Because we didn't have social media.
Yeah, it was just not there. That whole everyone is beautiful thing. Like we were so judgmental towards other women and everything. So when I see comments and I see negative comments and I see a lot of women being like women's women, like a girl's girl, and then I see like a lot of negative comments that are from women and men. It makes me like want to think about how women, I feel like sometimes we're envious of other women because they were judging women based off of a man's ideal of what a man's image is and what a man once upon a time told us what we should look like, and that created a lot of like animosity amongst women. And now that we've kind of starting shedding those kind of layers, that whole concept of a girl's girl kind of formed, and now it really is like I see so many like women can be so nice to each other, and I love seeing that. Like I love seeing that in the comments because like some of the male comments will be really like Badtameez is what I want to say, like they're very Badtameez, and it's like stuff that I know somebody would probably never say to these people's face. They're kind of hiding behind that, whatever
fake profiles,
medium, and it's easy to do that through social media. But then I love seeing women's comments. I think that a lot of them are very
the amount
positive.
of times like anybody who has commented negative under my post, cool. If you want to comment negative under my stuff, cool. But like a lot of the times when I see comments under my friends' posts, that's when I go off. It's like I am like a German shepherd. I am protective, not over myself. I'm protective of those around me. And I'll start fighting people in the comments because it is what it is. Like these people think they can comment without any repercussion. Is that the word?
Yeah,
Repercussion?
repercussions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
repercussions.
repercussions.
Repercussions. And it's really, really sad because then when you comment back, you get those comments of like, oh, I was just commenting. You don't need to at me. Or I was just stating my opinion. If you're going to state your opinion, be ready for more opinions
Yeah,
to come
that's
through.
true. When the confrontation happens, they
Yeah.
start to back down. And that's
Yeah.
very funny. That's very funny to watch because
Yeah.
it's like even in person. Okay, I watched the dumbest movie and it was called Nadanya. Did you watch it? Okay,
I
sorry.
watched it.
I want to get into that. But the only thing I can take away from that movie was when he was like, "Oh, when you look a bully in its eyes, they'll back down or whatever." Or, I don't know what the dialogue
That was the
Yaad bhi nahi
only
raha, honestly.
thing
Yaad bhi
she
nahi
could
raha.
take from
Dialogue.
Natanya.
Because it's something I would tell my kid
Yeah.
too. Like, please don't back down from a bully. Like, look them in the eyes. They're not gonna be able to like hold their ground too long. So, yeah, like I don't encourage you to confront everybody in your comments because obviously that's like gonna be
Yeah.
a waste of your time.
Yeah.
But in real life, like if you feel
I actually had, it just reminded me, and I don't want to forget, I actually had somebody comment something negative and then DM me a really disgusting thing.
oh god,
And I went on their fake profile. They were not good with their fake profile.
Oh.
So I saw who they were following because I had time. I saw who they were following and who follows that account. And one person wasn't like, they were the common denominator. And it's this girl, this really pretty girl with her own like actual profile account.
Oh.
And I DM'd her and I was like, hey, is this you? And I sent her a screenshot. And I read, it says seen and no response.
shit.
And she
Damn.
probably blocked me and stuff, but I don't remember. But like, this is what people do. They sit
Basically,
there
don't
and they
leave
just
a paper trail.
don't leave a paper trail.
Tia's gonna come find it. She's gonna find the
Don't leave a
source.
paper trail. It honestly, like that's why I say like we deal with so much online on social media, and of course we know this, we're putting ourselves out there, you're going to be subject to people's opinions and comments and everything, but it's so important that when you come back to your home is your safe place and you can have that support. Like I can talk to my husband, telling him that this is a negative comment. It's so weird, my husband. It's very weird. I'm still getting used to that. I can talk to him and just tell him that this is what happened, and then he'll be supportive. She can do the same. And that's so important to have, because if we do not have that in our homes, it's so hard to progress and move forward and basically provide even something better for the next generations as they keep going. Like it honestly, like, again, I keep thinking about that movie, and that movie had triggered so much. Like, do you remember that scene where she had to clean the sink?
Oh god, I know that sink, but they did a good job of building that anxiety. Like I feel like that sink was a metaphor of how much she was kind of clogging her emotions, I guess, right? Like she was building them up
when she exploded,
and then at the end she just kind of explodes. But you want her to snap earlier. Like
I
want
you
her to
do
snap earlier, because I'm like, oh my god, break. Like whenever you watch things like that, like literally it ends with us. Like that thing. Like I do love that thing about the whole it ends with us, because it's like this. We need to break a lot of these cycles.
Yeah,
and they're gonna take really long, but it starts like one person at a time.
You break the cycles. Yeah,
and I love that. Like I love the kind of Bollywood movies and Hollywood movies that show these, out of the ordinary things where they're so real that they hit home, right?
Yeah.
Like they're very real the way that they're made. And it really gets to you. That anxiety kind of builds up. Really, it's just a movie about. Oh my god! So I read a comment about it. Sorry, I just remember. I read a comment and this drove me crazy. Some uncle or someone commented under it, and he was like, "Oh, so like a woman like." Oh, so after this movie came out, a lot of men started posting like, "Oh, you have a problem making 2 meals a day? Like that's not hard work." And then men come home after 18 hours of working. We don't complain once, and like that is what we're dealing with here. That's the ideology we're dealing with here. That's really hard to break, because the man that's coming home, he's feeling so entitled to this,
that I worked, that I'm providing for you, that I'm putting money on the table, blah 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 blah.
And why is the woman, who's also putting in a lot of effort, like I agree that the man is putting a lot of effort, but why are we not giving that same respect and hard work or reward to that woman? Because she's cooking for you, your family, your dad, and all she's looking for is a thank you, come eat with us.
Because
You
also
know,
when a man, this is just how I look at it. And when a man comes home, they want to come home to that peace. If you want that peace,
mm-hmm.
you need to be
True.
as supportive. Like then that provides the woman with peace. Like the one thing I remember my dad would always say, he'd be like, if it wasn't for Arvinder, which is my mom, if it wasn't for Arvinder, I would be nowhere. And he's like, people think that it's just the hard work, and anybody who's working, even if it's a woman working and the man's not working, whatever it is, you have to give credit where credit is due. To make your house a home is not easy. And I'm saying that, and I'm not even a housewife. Again, like I watched my mom, I saw what she did. Had she not done what she did for my dad, I don't think my dad would have succeeded to where he is now. And had dad not been able to do what he can for mom and I, we would not be mentally in such a good, positive relationship with each other.
Yeah, I completely agree. When you work as a team, I think that's the best possible outcome that you can have, because that helps your mental health, right? None of you are dealing with this like mental load of like, he's not doing enough, she's not doing enough, I'm overworked, she's overworked. Like if you try to fill in those gaps and you support each other, like I support my husband by taking care of our kids in our home, and he supports us by going to work and providing finances. And that's just what works for us. And I say this from experience, like being a stay-at-home mom is not a joke. Like I have had to deal with so many people who think that that's like not a real thing. Yeah, I've seen the look on people's face, and it used to make me so nervous to even tell people that I'm a stay-at-home mom, because I felt like I would have really to give validation. Yeah, it was like something I really went through where I had to give a lot of validation for what I'm doing, because people are like, hey, why is your kid not in daycare? Why don't you work? Or why don't you just put your kids in daycare? Like it's like such a different
however you raise your kids to never I obviously it's not in a negative way, but like why do people need to question it?
They don't. Yeah, you like all whatever you need to do to raise your kids, or be in your marriage or whatever.
Do
like,
whatever you need
to do what you need to do, and it's not going to be.
But
the
why
same
question
for
other people?
Yeah, and it's just not going to be the same for everybody. I think that's the biggest thing. Like everybody's situation is so different. Yeah, and I wouldn't advise what I'm doing to somebody else because they're in a different situation. Right. But yeah, I do think from experience can be a very thankless job. I think I get rewarded by my kids' smiles and laughter and hugs. Like that's my reward, and my husband being like, "Hey, thank you." But I support him and he supports me, and that is how it always should be. If somebody has that culture of being a housewife, they should at least get the recognition they deserve. That's it. And they should be able to work if they want to and they choose to. So I think watching it from like kind of a Western country, it was a very triggering movie because it's really beyond us. Like I feel like it's really like we don't live in that kind of culture anymore.
And I think a lot of people might say, oh, that doesn't happen anymore, but like we said, it's in specific areas and places in these countries, and it's just really, really sad. And again, you just see the man carry on with the same routine. Like it wasn't even, I'm so sad that I lost my wife. It was like, all right, who can be the next one?
Who is the next one? And that being said, even if it's happening to 1% of people, it's still an issue. So just because it's not happening to us or people around us or in different parts of the world, that doesn't mean we shouldn't give a shit about it, right? And I think that's important. That somewhere out there, someone thinks that this culture is okay or this is all right.
Even though I don't condone the actress and it ends with us, but it does end with us. And I think like if you are seeing any patterns of these situations happening, and whatever the woman is going through and whatever she does to break that cycle is whatever she does to break that cycle.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Like, I kind of want to just wrap it up by saying that sorry, did you have anything else to see? Were you adding to that?
No.
Okay. It reminded me, because we going back a little bit, it is very important how we kind of break that cycle is how we raise our future generation. That is how we break it. We were, our parents worked on us and that was good, and then we have that responsibility to put that into how to respect women, to teach boys that, and how to not, or how to continue your self-love and give yourself a lot more value and worth. We need to teach that to our girls, because we're not just going to fall for this cycle. over and over again.
And it's so important because what kids are seeing in your house, they're learning. They're learning from that, and then they're learning from society. So it becomes like a battle, and they don't know what to do. So I mean, exactly. Kudos to what you said, and like I've seen the way. Again, I've said it before, but I've seen the way that Maha has been raising her kids. Phenomenal. She is literally their best friend, which is beautiful. And I also look at, I again, we can only speak for like our parents specifically, and like I look at my mom and dad. I had to break a cycle when I was younger and being like, hey, be my best friends. And because of that, they were able to raise me to the daughter I feel that I am today. And one thing I can say, I'm a very loving daughter. And just watching the patterns and the love story between my mom and dad, because I grew up watching that, makes me go, okay, I believe in that for myself. And that's what I have with my husband. And it's nice because like even like little drives or little things, like it matters. Like that's the appreciation,
Yeah,
right?
that
It
is,
could be the
yeah.
tiniest thing. It could even be, I'm Canadian, so I'm gonna say it. Even the tiniest thing. I know you like French vanilla. Here's Timmy's.
Yeah.
It's
It
the
really is a
little
thought behind.
things.
Yeah, it's the little things.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to give each other those affirmations of love and
True.
respect, and just saying thank you. Thank you goes such a
It
long
does.
way.
Yeah, I think that is the best way to kind of like the message
Yep.
that we want to send out there is the appreciation, respect, and thank you
Yeah.
goes a long, long, long way.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your friendship.
Oh, I appreciate.
And
Oh my
thank
God.
you.
And thank you. And I appreciate your friendship. Tia got me flowers today. Okay,
did.
that is her affirmation for
Oh,
today.
and because I knew I was going to make her frazzled after that. But hey, guys, I did cook today.
She did. That
I did
really,
cook today.
So
Well, I mean, I marinated.
She's
I'm cooking.
She's still cooking.
Guys, I don't cook. So that's the appreciation I'm
That's
also
why I know
giving
what
my
this
husband
means. Yes.
and her. I was like, let me take care of both of them when they come home. So I am trying my best. We'll see what it tastes like. But even if it tastes bad,
Did you get
a
inspired
thank
by
you will
Mrs.
matter. No.
and start cooking?
No. Actually, I was inspired with one of my girls who was staying with me, Dara. But no. Definitely not. Anyways,
it
guys.
had the wrong effect on you where you're like, I should start cooking.
We're gonna wrap this up because Maha and I can
Yes,
talk for
we
so long, but I
We
definitely believe we got our point across. And it's interesting the trajectory of what we went with this video, from the movie to, obviously we talked a bit about career, but
Yeah.
more importantly, how amazing housewives truly are. And not just, it doesn't matter if you're a housewife or not, or whatever it is, even if you want to say house husband, it's that appreciation and respect to each other that you have to give. You have to say thank you. So I guess we'll end it off with that.
Yeah, and whoever is making the house a home,
Yeah.
whoever is putting in that effort, like, thank you to everybody who does that.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the second podcast. Bye.
Bye.